God bless football, Billy Gill.
God bless football, Mikey A.
God bless football, Stugotz.
Thank you, Mikey A. We need to next year, if we can, do a live as the schedule is being unveiled, as it's being announced. We need to be live. We need to get live reactions from all of us doing that. No, Billy?
Why?
I don't know. I just think it'd be fun. I mean, it would be fun. Why not? Billy, we have a show called God Bless Football. I want to do a schedule release show. I don't know. I don't know. Bad idea?
Nah, release watch. I mean, look, I'm excited. We get to talk about the schedule today because guess what, Stugotz?
What?
Before, we knew the who and we knew the where.
Yeah.
But we didn't know the when.
Oh.
And now we know all of the whens.
We know the whens.
We know the
all the whens. And some more wheres. We weren't sure of all the wheres. We knew a lot of the wheres, but not all the wheres. Now we know all the wheres, all the whens.
So just so I'm clear,
not the hows.
We know all the who's, we know all the wheres, and we know all the whens now.
Yeah.
Wow.
The what's and the hows are still up in the air, but we know the whens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mel Kiper Jr. going to join us on this episode of God Bless Football. I'm looking forward to that. Mel outside of draft. It's a different kind of Mel. It's a looser, more relaxed type of Mel. And I am very much looking forward to that. Billy, I don't know what to do here. I looked over the Jets schedule, and this is why I want to do a live show.
Okay.
I can't find a lot of losses on that schedule, and I am nervous. I am not certain what to do with myself.
Okay. So you, Mikey for work, had to do the W's and the L's for the Jets already. I don't know how many W's and L's he picked yet. I have to look this up. Well, you could just tell us too, I guess. We could drive people to your article, or you could tell us more or less. How about this, Mikey? To drive traffic towards your article, you can just give us a number and not tell us where those wins and losses are. Does that work for you? Or do you want to just pick and choose? Here's a W, here's an L, and then we can fill in the blanks and try to guess. Stugotz, I think, has the Jets going, what, like 15-2 or something like that?
14-3.
Of course. Of course. I mean, of course.
Billy, they have all the tough games at home, and they have a lot of rookie quarterbacks on their schedule. I mean, they do. And Mikey knows it, and I know Mikey is just as excited as I am and probably gave them somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 to 13 wins. I know he did. I mean,
I want to vomit.
I know.
Because when I was going through this and I was doing the wins and losses,
I know.
I literally tried to give all the 50-50 games against the Jets.
Right.
And I still wound up giving them 12 wins.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Wow. Wow. That's not 14. You feel good about that?
No, it's not. You gave them some of those 50-50 games.
Right. We'll take anywhere in that range, 12, 13, 14. We're good. We'll take it.
I'm so sick.
I know.
So you guys also, the Jets, that is, when I say you guys, also lead the NFL, I think, in primetime games, correct?
Yeah, we have 7 standalone games. The Jets.
But I think we had the same last year, Billy, and had that work out. It worked out with our quarterback tearing his Achilles 3 plays in.
You got we talked about this last week where we were trying to figure it out. First game, road game in San Francisco. How are we feeling?
That's a win.
Oh, okay.
I gave him a loss.
Because you were trying to find losses. I know what you were doing. You were trying to find losses. Okay?
No, I have a new strategy for that. I'm just going to ask you, since it will be a lot quicker. Stugotz, who are the 3 losses that you have this year for the Jets?
Oh, I got to look at the schedule again. And listen, when I look at the schedule, every time I look at it, I might find one less loss and one more win for the Jets here. So I got to look at it, Billy. Give me a second, and I will have it for you.
You have a big Thursday night football game on Halloween night against the Texans, I saw. How are you feeling about that one?
Well, this is what I can tell you. At San Francisco, win. At Tennessee, win. Home against New England, win. Home against Denver, win. Home against Minnesota, which is in England, I believe, win. Home against Buffalo, that's a win. Their first loss is week 7 at Pittsburgh. That's the first loss I gave them.
You didn't get them early enough.
They win at New England. They lose to Houston at home. That's the other loss I gave them, losing to the Texans. They beat Arizona. They lose to the Colts. They beat Seattle. They lose at Miami. They win at Jacksonville. They beat the Rams. They win at Buffalo, and they win against the Dolphins. How about that?
It seems as though Amazon or someone said something, because Thursday Night Football, pretty good games this year. There's not a ton that are like, these are just clunkers of games like you've had in the past.
Yeah.
I've noticed that they stopped trying to make sure every team has a Thursday night game, and they basically just tried to make it the other primetime game because the Jets have two of them.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
And the Panthers have none.
Right. Billy, how'd you feel about the Dolphins schedule? I can't believe that we get this excited about the schedule. I mean, I can believe it because I love the NFL and I love the New York Jets, and it's great to know all the who's, all the whens, all the wheres, and now we know everything. But were you excited, Billy, about the Dolphins draft? The Dolphins schedule?
Was I excited about the schedule? There's some cool games in there. You have a Monday Night Football revenge game against the Titans, which that was arguably the game that derailed the Dolphins season last year. So they have that game. They have that, I think, for one of the first Thursday Night Football games against the Bills, which is tough because it's at home and it takes away the home field advantage of the Heat early on in the season.
Terrible.
But
yeah.
They did luck out, in my opinion, getting the Bills in November instead of December. I mean, I think it's the first week of November they play the Bills, so they don't have like a late. It's still going to be snowing, probably miserable, but it's not going to be a late December game in Buffalo that they got to avoid. So, all in all, they start with the Jaguars. We'll see. This is a prove year for the Jaguars, I think. Not that anyone wants me to go, game by game, wins, losses. Yeah, but Trevor Lawrence, something to prove, I think.
Billy, you have those tough games. So the games that the Jets have at home, the Dolphins have at the road. Have on the road. That's what I'm saying. Like you have those tough games. Like you're at the Rams. We get the Rams at home. You're playing LA in LA. We have the Texans at home, at least, even though I think the Jets are going to lose it. You have to go to Houston. Now you get San Francisco at home. That's a good thing. But some of those, and you have Green Bay on the road. Jesus Christ, the Dolphins. I'm feeling better about the Jets.
Yeah, but the thing that I like about that Texans game in Houston is that it occupies one of the road December slots, which it'll be in a dome. So they don't have to worry about going and playing in a colder place because they get to play in a dome that game. So that actually ate up a nice spot. Now, last week of the season at the Jets on the road. That's going to be an interesting game. We'll see how that one goes.
Last week of the season is in Miami.
Is it?
It's interesting because I'm looking at the Dolphins schedule and I have it at Jets as well.
That doesn't matter. Listen, here's the deal. I don't like the week 6 bye. I'm going to be honest with you. A little early. I think you guys got a week 12 bye, which is great. Also, here's another thing. Netflix games.
Oh, wow.
Wednesday games on Netflix, Christmas Day.
Wow.
And I saw a bit of a typo on the NFL website where it seemed that they had the Kansas City Chiefs playing in 2 different cities the same day. They had them playing in Pittsburgh and in Houston. So someone made a mistake, or the Chiefs are up for a giant challenge because they're playing in 2 cities right after each other back to back on Netflix Christmas Day. I don't know why I just crossed my leg.
That's the way, because the schedules were released, and you're serious, Billy. This is an exciting time, but that's how you beat the Chiefs. You make them split up the squad.
Split squad.
Play 2 games at once. Split squad. Amazing. Mikey, you had a funny stat about the Chiefs before, not a stat, a fact about the Chiefs before we went on air here. What was that again?
The Chiefs were going to play on every day of the week this season except for Tuesday.
Oh, wow.
They're going to play Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
That's big.
Now, I was listening and tell me what you guys think about this theory that was floated out there. I was listening to Dan Patrick, DP, and I haven't done it yet, but I guess someone has done it, and I'm going to look more into this to see if there's anything to this. But they were saying Chiefs are traveling to Buffalo same time that Taylor's tour is in Toronto. So I'm going to try to look and see if there's any correlation between the Chiefs schedule and Taylor Swift's travel schedule, because it seems as though at least that one stop, they may have moved things around and finagled some things to try to get Taylor to some more of these games this year.
Right, because it's good. It's good for the business of the NFL, whose business you didn't think could get any better before Taylor Swift. She made it better. She did. She made it better. Billy, if indeed the NFL did that, by the way, because you're right, they took the elements out of the Dolphin-Bills game early on. So if they, as kind of a repayment for that, the Bills not having to play during the day, second week of the season in Miami where it's 110 degrees, if they gave the Dolphins at the Bills in early November because of that, that's a good job by the NFL. Kind of equals things out. Billy, it's not nearly as cold in November, early November, as it is late December. It's crazy late December in Buffalo.
I don't think that they did that to favor the Dolphins. I don't think that they
I'm giving him too much credit.
Yeah, I don't think.
But Taylor Swift, definitely, right?
I'm just picturing Taylor in Buffalo at a tailgate before the game, table on fire, chugging a beer, jumping through it. Some manager somewhere's like, "What are you doing?" For some reason, Gordy's going to be there, obviously.
Right. You have Gord hanging out with Taylor, jumping on tables.
Yeah.
So do I.
Yeah.
I love Gord.
I do too. I miss him.
So do I. Oh my God, the schedules are out. It feels like the season has started. I mean, no.
I mean, they don't have. There's no Monday Night Football doubleheader this year, though. On the first week of the season, like we've had. Oh, we have a Week 4 doubleheader. Actually, take that back right away.
We have a Monday Night doubleheader Week 4, huh?
Week 4 doubleheader.
Monday Night doubleheaders,
Week 3 doubleheader. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
What's the Week 3 doubleheader?
Well, Week 7 doubleheader. Hold on, I spoke way too soon. I don't know why they're not doing Week 1, but we got 3 Monday Night Football doubleheaders. Week 3, we have Jaguars at Bills, and then we have Commanders at Bengals. Week 4, we have Titans at Dolphins, and then Seahawks at Lions. And then Week 7, we have Ravens at Buccaneers and Chargers at Cardinals.
Wow.
I'm going to go to bed before that second game. I can miss that Chargers and Cardinals games. No, thank you.
Well, now that Austin's not there anymore.
Yeah, I have no reason to watch that game.
We got the East Coast Commanders game, that first doubleheader, where that Billy, you'll be you can stay up for that. I mean, it's an East Coast start, right?
I'll try my hardest. No promises.
I love that Austin plays at 1 now and not 4 for the most part.
Yeah.
Mikey A, what the hell are we doing? I have never been this high on the Jets ever in my entire life. This is the most excited I've been for a season since last season.
Okay.
Let's go to Mel Kiper Jr. He'll join us next. How does this work? And thank you for doing this, Mel, for the great Mel Kiper Jr. Like, it seems like after the draft, do you go into some sort of hibernation? Do you go on vacation? What happens to you after the draft?
Well, you take a little break for a couple of weeks, and then you get back into looking at 2025 guys, and that's the thing. You know, it never ends. There's really not a break in the action because as soon as you get to June, you're talking about the prospects for next year, putting up a rankings board, putting up a top 25 big board. And the only way you can do that is to study the players. You can't just throw names out there. You got to actually look at these guys, not just superficially, but under a microscope when you put your name on a board. So I've always looked at it that way. A couple weeks to regenerate, figure out all the reviews, get that, in the rear view mirror because that's over and done with, and then move on to next year. And that's basically what you spend the whole summer doing.
Is there a definitive guy for next year's draft that, at least right now, is the number 1 overall pick? I can't believe I'm asking this.
Well, James Pierce at Tennessee is a pass rusher off the edge. And that's the kind of guys that tend to go in that top 2 or 3. So if Pierce has the kind of year you can expect him to have, building off of what he did in 2023, he's going to be way up there, guys. And then you got to think quarterback, Carson Beck at Georgia, but Shedeur Sanders at Colorado, heck of a player. So, the quarterbacks, override some of the other positions like pass rusher and Pierce, like a Tet McMillan, the T-Mac, the kid at 6'5", the top recruit Arizona's had in a long time. Jed Fish gets him to go to Arizona. He had committed to Oregon, but, Cristobal went to Miami. So, T-Mac ends up at Arizona. Then he'd go to Noah Fafita after a few games. Fafita was a high school teammate of Tet McMillan. And this is a kid, McMillan, a 6'5" receiver with great hands, tremendous awareness. Luther Burden III is going to be a good wide receiver at Missouri, heck of a receiver, actually a great one potentially. But Tet McMillan, T-Mac, keep an eye on him at Arizona. Jed Fish moved on to Washington, but Arizona's got a special pass catch tandem there with Noah Fafita, who's like a Bryce Young type. You don't discount him because he's 5'11". Noah Fafita can throw the football with the best of them, and he's got the great receiver in McMillan to throw too, like I say, high school teammates as well. So a lot of good players, I think, at the top of the board. A couple offensive tackles, Kelvin Banks Jr. at Texas and Will Campbell at LSU are 2 good ones on the offensive line.
Mel, you mentioned Shedeur Sanders, and you've been doing this long enough. How much of the stuff that he's doing on social media do you think is going to affect how he gets drafted?
Hey, adapt or die, right? This is the new world. So, let's face it, guys. This is life in the big city now.
Coming from a man with no phone. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, come on. You're going to have announcements. You're going to have all kind of social media. All your socials will be all over your jersey. Here, watch me here. Listen to me here. I'm going to be on with Stugotz and Mikey A. Watch me here. 11 o'clock on Tuesday morning. I mean, listen to you have to adapt to what's going on. And I think certain programs are now picking it up. Clemson didn't get into the portal. How'd that affect them? Not very well for Dabo Swinney. Not going into the portal affected that program. You got to do what everybody's doing. You got to find ways. Look at Ole Miss. Look what Lane Kiffin's doing down there. Look at the programs, how quickly you add 2 or 3 players in the portal, all of a sudden at the right positions, you can catapult your team, augment your recruiting, and all of a sudden you're a top 10 team. So, again, you got to take advantage of what's out there. Right now, you're talking about paying the players. It's, hey, you want to leave? You want to go get a guy? And that's the shame of it, guys, that a program, a group of 5 develops players, finds players that nobody else wants. They develop them, and then the big guys say, oh, he's pretty good. We missed him. Let's go get him. That's the shame of it, that if you lose a guy because you didn't evaluate him properly, now you can make up for that mistake where before you couldn't. Now you can. And I don't like that aspect of it, but I think it certainly benefits the big-time programs. They have the money. They have the resources. They see a guy that was a steal going to even a 1AA program. Let's go get him. And I credit a lot of these kids, guys, that stayed. A lot of those South Dakota State kids stayed out there with the Jackrabbits and did great things. So when you see that loyalty to a program, that these kids that feel like, okay, you didn't want me, but they did, I'm going to be loyal to them. I'm not going to go back to you who went with somebody else over me when I was coming out of high school or coming out of the JUCO ranks, wherever. I'm going to stay loyal to the program that invested in me, stayed with me, and believed in me when nobody else did. So I think NFL teams will look at that as well when you evaluate players on who was loyal and maybe who wasn't.
Mel, sticking with Colorado and Shedeur Sanders and even Travis Hunter, you haven't, obviously we don't know where teams are picking yet. You have a big board that you're going to put together. How much weight do you put on Deion saying my son and Travis are not going to play for certain teams when you go and you start picking out where it is that these guys are going to fall in the draft?
We heard a little bit of that they started this year with Jaden Daniels saying, I want to be with the Raiders. And what did I say to that about him? I said, you don't dictate where you go, Jaden. You can call your shots. You can leave Arizona State and go to LSU. You can do whatever you want. But in the NFL, there's a way. There's a system that's in place. Now, you can try to, adapt to the system and make the system adapt to you. John Elway worked the system very effectively, right? Getting to Denver from Baltimore. Eli Manning worked the system very effectively, going from the Chargers to the Giants. But they were teams picking up high enough to make that move. Jaden didn't have, and the Raiders didn't have that capability where they were picking. They weren't in that top group to say, okay, we'll do something a little different. We'll take this guy, and then you give us that guy. That wasn't going to happen. Jaden was going to be the second pick. The Raiders weren't picking in the top 10. They had no chance of getting Jaden Daniels. So Jaden couldn't work the system. He might have played for Antonio Pierce, but too bad. That's the life in the NFL. Okay. In terms of this whole Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, package deal, whatever, who knows how Deion's going to try to work. But let's just play football first. Let's have a great year. Okay, let's win games. Let's put up numbers, stay healthy, protect your quarterback, which they could not do last year. Travis Hunter got hurt as well. So, again, just stay healthy, improve your team. Let's worry about trying to get into a playoff now. A lot of teams are involved now. Everybody's got a shot. Colorado's got a lot of good players on this football team. So I get a little tired of hearing about the big-time look-aheads to where we're going to be. How about let's live in the moment? Let's worry about where we are, and where we are is going to determine where we will be. Yeah. Let's not worry about that. Put the cart before the horse. So
you tell them, Mel.
I'm sick and tired of all that nonsensical talk about we're going to do this, we're going to do that. I just say shut up and play football. How about that?
Yeah.
So you're not blinking. Deion's not going to bully you into putting him higher up or putting him on a team that he wants him to be on.
Hey, one thing I don't get is bully, guys. I mean, Stugotz, nobody, they've tried for 40-some years. Yes. Right? They've tried. It hadn't worked. So bullying doesn't work. No, they're not going to bully anybody. The NFL is going to do things their way. No, you're not going to step in. And now you can, like I said, John Elway did it. Eli Manning did it. But that was just a way it happened to work out where teams were picking high and the quarterback, and it all worked out perfectly for those two players. But in the long run, it's not going to happen that way. Certainly package deals, I don't know how. And I say never say never to anything. I'll believe it. Just wait it out. Something crazy will probably happen. But for me, it's about evaluating players today, not worrying about late April of 2025. I think that's way too early in the process to start projecting that stuff. I'm still trying to figure out who can play and who can't play. And these boards, by the way, guys, that come out, and we do the best we can, is still going to be flawed because you got to play a season. Jaden Daniels wasn't on any of these boards last year. Jaden Daniels went from a 4th-round pick to the number 2 pick overall. So somebody's going to go way up. I mentioned Noah Fafita from Arizona because people will overlook him a bit because of his size, but he's got that Bryce Young type of talent. So again, somebody's going to come out of nowhere. That's the great part of this process. There are shockers, there are surprises every year.
Mel, you ever have a moment, I don't know if earlier on in your career, mid-career, whatever, where you're walking down the street, maybe coming back from the grocery store or something, it's dark, and you just kind of look over your shoulder and you're like, oh, whoa, I ranked someone a little bit too low, and you're worried that you're being followed or anything?
It never really crossed my mind till now. Thank you very much for that. I really appreciate that. Now I got more to worry about. I need bodyguards, right? No, I don't think. The opinion.
Mel, I'm for hire.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
bodyguard right there.
About that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, it's crazy because up at ESPN, and you guys know, everybody that's worked at ESPN over the last 40 years hates me because I didn't have them rated high enough. So I get enough of that talk when I go.
Wait a second.
It doesn't matter who. The thing is, it doesn't even matter if you have them rated pretty good. It's never good enough. And if you had them rated too high, it's like you overrated me. You made me think I was better. You can't win with players. Former players are never going to be happy with where you had them. I'm sure there's some people that look at not only my ratings, but a lot of others. Todd's out there doing his. Todd McShay rankings. Daniel Jeremiah is doing his. Field Yates is doing his. Field did a great job with me this year at ESPN with his rankings. So, hey, I always say, so you step into this forum, you step into this arena of evaluating players. I'm sure there's going to be guys out there to take exception to things we say, but no, does it bother you? Do you worry about it? No, you really can't worry about that type of thing.
Billy has Mel looking over his shoulder now. But Mel, who at ESPN, by the way, this is fascinating. Who at ESPN over the course of time has been the most upset with you because of where you rank them coming into the draft?
I'll tell you what, this is the big board of people that hate Kiper at ESPN, right? Number one by miles. He's not there anymore. He was there. Now he's in the NFL. It's Chris Spielman. Chris will tell you he had. Now I've heard this. I've heard it's true. He had a picture of me on his wall in his bedroom. And when he would wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, he'd look at that picture and he'd do 300 sit-ups, 300 push-ups. Now, I know, and I talked, Tom Condon and represented him. And so Tom was telling me about these stories. I'd be on the phone with Chris and he'd be screaming at Kiper, I hate that guy. I mean, I always say to Chris, my son, so where's the residuals? I help motivate you to be a great player. I don't see the check in the mailbox anytime coming to me. But no, he went around. 2. I had him as like a 3rd, 4th round. I compared him to Ray Nitschke and Dick Butkus. I gave him that. I say he was an overachiever. He didn't have great range, great speed to the football, but in that era, he fit what that Mike linebacker was and an inside backer was. So for Chris Spielman, he had a great career. He's a great guy. I worked with him at ESPN. We called the Senior Bowl and a lot of other things. And it's fun to have that type of thing. I know there's been a lot of others, but I think number one on that all-time Kiper hater big board is Chris Spielman.
Do you have someone on the flip side that you worked with, a coworker of yours, maybe past or present at ESPN, that you ranked too highly, and you, not that you hold a grudge, but you go over and you're like, "Come on, man,
Mel
you made me look
grudge,
terrible. Right? You made me look really bad."
Now you're really, you could be in trouble with that question.
That's what he does, Mel. That's what he does.
I will say this: we got Ryan Clark. Ryan Clark's at ESPN. I had Ryan Clark. I thought it would be Louis Riddick always gets. I said, "Louis, I gave you." He said, "Well, you like me better as a junior." I mean, these guys remember everything. I like the better as a junior. I don't even remember what the hell I said as a junior. But Louis said, "Oh, you like me better?" You got, and you were right though. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like give it up. But no, I really, there's nobody really that jumps out at me. I mean, Trev Alberts, I worked with. He was part of that whole situation back with the Colts. Remember the whole Trev Alberts, Trent Dilfer, ended up working with Trev, who was great to work with. So again, it's come full circle when you evaluate guys, and then there you are, and I look out, and they're coming to ESPN to work with me. I'm wondering, okay, to your point about looking over hey, how are they going to feel? Am I going to have to worry about going into that room with these guys now or whatever? Am I going to have to start running the other way? And no, they were always great to work with. And they would always kid me about it and say, you did this, you did that, you should have said this, should have said that. But at the end of the day, it's all in good fun.
Mel, now that you've had time, nearly a month or over a month, I guess, since the NFL draft, has it been a month? You've had a few weeks to kind of digest everything that happened there. What, with that time, okay, because right after, I understand it's, you're in the moment, it's heated. But now, given the opportunity to have some time to digest everything, well, let's start here. What pick shocked you the most?
The Michael Penix Jr. to Atlanta was the most shocking. I thought he would go to the Raiders and the build up to the draft. That was where it was trending. The Raiders, who were not going to get Jaden Daniels, as we discussed, were going to look at Michael Penix Jr. And they were sitting there thinking, we're going to get a quarterback. Which one of these six? Maybe a couple. So none of them were even there when the Raiders picked, and they weren't able to move up and get Michael Penix Jr. He went to Atlanta, who you thought was going to take Dallas Turner, who Minnesota gave a lot to go get him. So they passed on the defensive player that could have helped them with Kirk Cousins get better this year and maybe get into the playoffs and go deep into the playoffs, as opposed to taking the heir apparent or somebody who can compete with Kirk Cousins, who's coming off the Achilles, figuring we're fortifying the position for years. My thing is, that's great in theory, okay? To say, okay, we're fortifying this position for 10, 12, 15 years. That you have to assume then that Michael Penix Jr. is going to be really good, which we don't know. And then secondly, is this staff, the head coach, the GM, going to still be there in 3 or 4 years if you don't have success, where Kirk Cousins is going to be 36 years of age coming off an Achilles? And you still have a question on that defensive side that you did address in the draft after you took Michael Penix Jr. But Rook Arowaro from Clemson is an unknown because he's got talent, but he didn't have great production. Some of these other guys like Trice, some of these guys that they drafted, will they come on? They dropped a little bit for a reason. So some of these guys have to make up for not taking a Dallas Turner at that point, or a Latu from UCLA, who ended up going to the Indianapolis Colts. So again, I think Michael Penix Jr. by far was the most surprising pick to the team. It wasn't surprising he went in the top 13, but it was surprising the team that took him being the Atlanta Falcons.
How many A's did you give out this year?
I gave out two. Wow. I gave out one to Philadelphia and one to Arizona. I would have given one to Pittsburgh, but they're the Steelers, who I hate, and I gave them an A minus. So being in Baltimore, I'm not giving an A to the Steelers ever. So I gave the Steelers an A minus, but it should have been an A. I gave the Washington an A minus. That probably should have been an A, but as a Baltimore Colt fan, we're never a Washington Redskin fan, so right. Washington I've never warmed up to even after the name change. So I gave them an A minus. I gave Atlanta about a C, and there was a couple of the C's were basically on the overreaching a little bit, the stretch for the quarterbacks. Minnesota with JJ, certainly I thought Atlanta stretched it a bit, Denver with Bo Nix, even though I thought in Mach 4.0 he was going to go there, but it was still very high for me to take him based on grade. So that was why those teams got a little bit lower grade than some other people, and it fell perfectly for the Eagles. Arizona got a lot of good football players, but certainly the rich got richer, certainly with the Philadelphia Eagles having a great draft.
Are you saying there's no scenario in which you would ever give the Pittsburgh Steelers an A? Zero?
I can't say it unless it was just an A plus. And I said, I'll have an A plus. I'll give him an A. It was just an off the charts A plus. I might say, I'll give him an A. They're never going to get as high as they should because, ironic, my son-in-law Alex Klunk is a Steeler fan, and Steve, his father, is all Steeler fans. So kind of married into that. Lauren did, but she's all Ravens, so it's a good battle when those two teams hook up. It's a lot of fun to see that unfold. But no, the Steelers got an A minus. They did a heck of a job. They fortified and really strengthened the interior of the offensive line. Really the offensive line in general, which is what they needed to do. Now it'll be interesting to see Russell Wilson, Justin Fields. It's amazing how since Justin Fields was given away, everybody hates Justin Fields. Now he can't play. He's terrible. He only went 4-3 down the stretch for the Bears. Everybody was talking really positively about him, but now that he was given away, he's terrible. He can't play. It's Russell Wilson. The Bears, they knew what they had. They didn't have much going on there. It wasn't a tough decision. I don't know about that. I think that's all after the fact type of thing, but it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out in terms of this team, because they're a lot better than they were on paper, and who in turn becomes the quarterback. Is it Russell Wilson or is it Justin Fields, or is it Fields kind of worked in with packages because he's such a great runner? It's going to be really interesting to see how that all plays out with the Steelers this year.
It's a good thing I don't have Mel's kind of power, Billy, because you know me and you know me well. I would be bribed.
Yeah.
I'd be moving guys up and down based on what their family sent me.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's part of the NIL, right? You want a grade? No. You can't be getting into that stuff. I mean, I've always been talked about as at one point in time, I was elevating Notre Dame players. As a Polish Catholic here in Baltimore, I love Notre Dame, and I've always said I'm a big Notre Dame fan, right? So I was accused of elevating Notre Dame players. Like, remember Jimmy Clausen, that I did it because this Notre Dame and their whole agent thing. It was never any of that. I just made a mistake on Jimmy Clausen.
Right.
I wasn't high on Rick Meyer. Then I was accused of having a vendetta against Notre Dame players because I didn't have a high grade. So you're never going to have. That's why you can't worry about all that chatter from outside sources, because you're told one thing. One year I was raising players up because they were Notre Dame guys, and I was lower them down because I had a vendetta against Notre Dame. But none of it was true. I love Notre Dame, but it doesn't affect how I evaluate players. Sometimes I think I'm tougher on Notre Dame players. I watch the game so much. I'm watching it 6-7 times a week, and I'm going back over it, and I'm kind of overthinking it a bit. So sometimes I'm probably going to be maybe misevaluate, because they always say, what is it? Overanalysis causes paralysis. And with Notre Dame players, maybe I do too much of that. So I just throw it all out the window. You do what you do. And none of this nonsense you hear, it's a bunch of crap. None of it is true.
Except the Steelers. You hate them.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Hate's a strong word. I don't like. I'm not a fan. Like, we go to Steelers game, it's the Steelers. It's a rivalry. It's like if you ask an Auburn, Alabama, they ever going to love that Auburn? No. The Army, Navy. You think about USC, UCLA, across all these great rivalries. Steelers, Ravens is huge. And I remember being a Colt fan back in the day. I was a big Colt fan, and the Steelers would come in here and just ruin us. We had Burt Jones. We thought we had a great young team, and the Steelers would come in. We go there. It didn't matter where we played the Steelers. You could play them down at Mount Pleasant down here in Maryland. Didn't matter where you played them. They were going to beat the Colts. So the Steelers, it's always been that way. It always will be. There's some great games. That's the Yankees. That's Yankees Red Sox, basically, is what the Steelers Ravens have become.
No doubt. I want to make Billy your understudy, Mel. You're not going to do this forever. Someone needs to replace you at some point. I hope you do it for a long, long time. But I think Billy he loves football. Yeah. He cannot be bought. I think he would be the perfect understudy.
I can be bought.
What you got to do, Steve, you got to send me a scouting report on Billy so I can evaluate him. Give me some tape. Let me go back and try to figure out where he would rank on the Kiper heir apparent big board. How's that? The heir apparent big board. I got to have a top 5 there. But I got to have some video. I got to have something to basis on, not just guys hyping you up, not just guys hype you up because they're friends of yours, Billy. I want to see what you're really made of. So I need a little tape to evaluate and have that heir apparent Kiper big board coming up maybe another year or two.
I got to be honest. It sounds like you do a lot of work, but sailing on a Thursday sounds nice.
Oh, yeah.
I don't sail. I boat. And and I'm not.
Oh, wow.
Kim,
you offended
Alex, my son-in-law, they're the captains of this boat. It's a center console. It's not a sailboat. I've been on a sailboat. I enjoy it. But I'm not about to even fool around with that stuff. But as a captain, as a boater, I like to get on a boat, sit down, relax, have an orange crush, and just enjoy the scenery, and that's it. And then just come back to the port, get off, and say goodbye. So I'm not into all the boating aspects of it. I like being on it. I like getting on it and then getting off of it and leaving all the other work to somebody else.
Deck shoes, no shoes. What do we do?
Flip-flops. That's the that's it. What else is there, right? Flip-flops. Flip-flops. So you say another flip-flop fatality. I guess you shouldn't be wearing them on a boat. Sometimes they get a little slick and whatever.
Yes.
And some of the shoes I've worn on boats, Kim will tell you, sometimes I do a little crazy with dress shoes and different things. I come off something I'll be doing for ESPN. I'll hop on, so I don't change the shoes, and sometimes it gets a little slick. And you end up, having a little injury because of that. But no, flip-flops are my choice for most of the boating endeavors.
Strike me as someone who's never worn Crocs on a boat or anywhere ever.
That's a croc of something. Okay, that's what I would say.
Whoa, that's how you do it. Wow. That's why he's the best ever.
That's a croc right there. So I have. Yeah.
All right. Mikey A.
Question. Mikey A.
What's the name of the boat? Is it Big Boards? Is it Screw Chris Spielman? What's the name of the boat?
Oh, wow.
Now, the boat we had prior to this was Miss Molly, because it was from North Carolina. We bought it. It was a used boat. It was called Miss Molly. Okay. So we sold that. Now we have a center console. It doesn't have a name. Alex, my son-in-law, wanted to name it The Perfect Draft. And that's what he thought would be a good name. It doesn't have a name right now. Maybe it will. Well, right now it's nameless. Okay. It's a Key West, but it's nameless.
Okay.
Todd.
That's a great name.
That could be 3 or 4 Todds. I'm not sure. Is it Todd, or is it just Todd? But yeah, that could be a possibility as well. That's hey, a top 5 big board of boat names for a Kiper's boat. Can we come up with some Todd makes sense as well.
I love what you're doing on social media because you're doing different kind of big boards, and I think that's a lot of fun. And so we would like to come up with a few for you.
Yeah, we got it all going. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So next time we have you on we want to come up with some big boards for you, if that's okay. Is that fair?
I love the big board. The big board of everything. There's not enough big boards out there. That's the fun part.
Big board of big boards.
I am going to do this. I am going to have an Orange Crush. That's the only drink. I'm not a drinker, but I do love Orange Crush.
Yes,
and I love that. I was actually born in Ocean City, Maryland. Okay.
Right.
Harborside and Ocean City was the original Orange Crush. And there are some places around that have them by name only, but they don't taste like what an Orange Crush should.
Agreed.
There are some that are phenomenal. Okay. Phenomenal. Crab cake's the same way. You say, if you leave the Maryland, D.C. area, don't get a crab cake. Sometimes it looks more like a potato pancake than a crab cake. So you got to be careful where you get it. Don't say Maryland crab cake certain places because I've gotten them and they're not Maryland crab cake. So we're going to do that as well this summer. So crab cake big board, Orange Crush big board, Kiper boat name big boards, the all-time hater big board for ESPN employees.
Oh my God.
Keep them coming.
Mel replacement big boards.
No, I was going to ask him about that because I imagine he only has two names up there right now. Billy will be the third, but I imagine it's McShay or Field Yates, right? Like those are the two names up there.
I come up with more. I mean, we need at least 5.
Billy.
You can't have a big board at 5. So 3 doesn't work.
All
3,
right.
4, you got to get to 5. So we got McShay, Field Yates, we got Billy. I don't know. Mikey A at one point was trying. What, Mel? You know what, Mel? Trying.
See this?
I heard
See
you
this,
back
Mel?
in the day thinking you were a drafted expert.
See this, Mel? That's me putting my hat in the ring.
Wow.
That's me putting my hat in the ring.
Wow.
Okay. I always thought it was in you because you gave me enough hints, by the way, during the Daria and Mel show years. Hey, Stugotz, he was always trying to do it. He was trying to steal my information. He was going to use it. He was even trying with the voice. He was trying to get the imitation going a little bit. I was on to him a long time ago. So he might be number 4 or 5 on the big board. Mikey
C.
That's all I want.
Mikey C. Well, hold on. Before you get to Mikey C, who was most upset? Because I was devastated to hear that your show with Dory on Saturday mornings on ESPN has been canceled. I was not happy about that, but I'm wondering who was most upset. Was it you, Dory, or Mikey C?
This was the Chris Spielman lock of the century, number 1 by miles and miles and miles. Right. Dory. It was Dory. Dory. I gotta give him a call today. He's a little down. I gotta keep Dory. Got to keep him going here. Dory's had a tough time. He's had a rough time with this. So it's definitely Dory. Dory Noka all the way has had the roughest time. Mikey C and I talk about because I at the end of the show I just wanted to play Old Lang Syne. So Mikey says to me, no, that might be a little much. Just enough with Take Me Home Country Roads playing for the final. We used to have remember the 1 foot on the patio segment, Mikey? Mm-hmm. Remember that? The last segment of the show was always my 1 foot on the patio segment. So then we changed. I said, let's play Take Me Home Country Roads for going into the final segment. So we had that play, and I said, we'll play Old Lang Syne. He said, so even Mikey C says, no, that could be a little much. Dory's really having a tough time with this. So I said, I didn't know. I really had no clue, but I realized he is. Here we are 2-3 weeks, a couple weeks later. He's struggling. So I'm going to have to call him today and try to keep him on the straight and narrow here. But yeah, Dory's had a rough time with it.
That is very nice. So, Billy, I think what both of you need to do is go out, start looking at the college prospects and give Mel your thoughts, your delivery, send them some tape, and perhaps he'll move you up to number 1 on the big board to replace Mel. I mean, what a life that would be.
Yeah. A check in the mail wouldn't hurt.
Oh, he can be bought.
Never does.
I can be bought on that one. That's never what I can be bought on.
Oh, that's so good. Mel, we'll get you out of here.
I've been helping you get a job. You're getting a job now. So I that's one. Hey, little NIL.
Finder's fee.
I love it.
You get some of your backers, maybe get some of your supporters to throw a little my way, and it might help you a little bit.
Did you miss Todd? I know you said Field did a great job, and we love Fields. We're friends with Fields. Incidentally, Mikey C is the only person on ESPN I can't get on this goddamn show. It's weird. But did you miss having Todd there? Did you miss? Because we spoke to Todd before and after the draft, and I know he missed being a part of it.
I'll say this. Field is incredible. I mean, the work he's done talk about catching up. He always was there because he was part of the First Draft podcast with Todd and I for years. Yeah. And he had always done that. So he stepped, it was seamless for Field to step right in. And he was actually starting to challenge. I said, Field, just let it go. You got something you want to throw at me? Do whatever you got to do. But Field is the All-American guy. I mean, nicest guy. We have Blakely coming in late July, our first grandchild, right? He has this blanket made up with Blakely's name. He gives it to me at the draft. That's Field. I mean, there's not a nicer guy in the world than Field Yates. Now, Todd, on the other hand, he gets me going. I mean, I'll say this, guys. Nobody in my history has ever pushed the buttons and can get me from being in a great mood to being ready to just punch the screen. Okay. More than McShay can. So Todd, he has a way, that knack that only he has of just getting me from going, like I say, from a great mood to just fired up at the word, just not happy and just ready to say, you got to be kidding. And I've never said some things I shouldn't say on the air. I've come close with Todd. When we've had arguments, I've come close to just losing it and forgetting where I was, forgetting I was on national TV or national radio or a podcast. There were times I was ready to say some things I probably would have regretted. So yeah, Todd has, like I say, he's always had that knack that nobody else in my 46 years of doing this has had, of getting me to a level of rage that nobody's ever been able to do.
If that's the element, Mel, that you're missing, I promise you, Billy will eclipse Todd McShay very, very quickly. Okay, the things you didn't say on national TV, you will say them with Billy's next to you. I promise you.
I think with Billy, I will go way over the top because I can see it. I think he's got it. Billy, I can see those eyes, Billy.
Oh yeah,
get those glasses off. I see those eyes. Get those glasses off.
Got to see your eyes.
There you go. Oh, McShay's got a challenger. I think McShay might have a challenger here. So you're now you're scaring me. Okay. Now you're scaring me. Now, it went from being ready to go at you to being, hey, I don't know about this guy. This guy's a little dangerous.
You would tear his head off, Mel. I mean, but that head would be smiling.
Today, maybe not now.
His disembodied head would still be smiling though, because he got under your skin. It's so good. Mel, do you get excited for anything outside of the draft? Meaning, like, are you excited when the schedule comes out, like we are?
No. Because the schedule to me, I wouldn't say overhyped. To me, it's about the games that you don't expect to be big turn out to be teams you don't expect to be great turn out to be. Everybody was fired up at the Jets last year. How'd that go? So when Aaron got hurt, that's what, fourth play of the season. So you never know. Things can unravel quickly. The NFL is about going from worst to first. Some of the teams you expect to be great aren't. So sometimes you think teams are going to be battling for the first draft pick, like the Houston Texans, and are in the playoffs, winning a playoff game against the Cleveland Browns. So I look at the schedule and say, yeah, it's nice to see certain matchups. So sometimes they never materialize like you hope, especially when you look at games in November, December. So I like to let the season play out, because I love surprises and I love disappointments. That's what makes the NFL great, because we always have them. So I'm not really big into worrying about what the schedule looks like.
All right, we'll let you go. We appreciate it. When you talk to Dari, by the way, tell him listen, Dari and Mel every week right here on God Bless Football if you want it. Okay, I'm just telling you right now.
Hey, I'll tell you, if you that invitation's out there, I think Dari is ready to go. He does not want Dari and Mel to go away. Okay.
Well, we have a home for you. It's right here. Okay.
And that no.
Okay. All right. Your home is right here. I just can't get Mikey C. So we'll just have to be you and Dari. Okay.
You never know. Hey, so to check Mikey C's way, you never know.
I have. Trust me. Anyway, thank you. Mel, we appreciate it as always. Enjoy your off season. It's a long off season.
Yeah, don't bother me during the summer. If I get a Mikey A email again, I'm gonna hit delete or whatever the hell you hit on that daggone computer when you see an email you don't want to look at. So if I see, hey Mel man, I'll say, hey Mel man, you call me in September. Okay.
But they can send you tape. They can
September 1st.
Right?
I'll see you
remember that
September
song?
1st.
There's a song called "See You in September." I'll see you in September. That's what I always said. When we got to the end of the draft, guys, I always said, my song playing right now is not "Take Me Home Country Roads." It's "See You in September." Leave me alone during the summer, okay?
Okay, we promise we will, but we can send you tape, right? Audition tape, correct? That's fair?
No, leave them alone.
I love that stuff. Oh, yeah.
No,
Billy,
it will sit in the inbox. I'll open it in September.
Crank it up with some good stuff, man. Billy better crank it up because there's some challengers coming. Once this big board possibility is out there, it's not just going to be Billy. There's going to be a lot of other guys. Well, I'm going to put that up on my gosh, I've got a million followers. Got a million. Oh, Jesus. Hey, I'm telling you. This is what I'm doing. I'm hiding from Billy. I tell you, I'm running.
He's coming for all your stuff, Mel.
Billy.
Yeah.
Billy, I got another list I'm going to put you on. Not that. I'm going to put you on another list for you, not the list. Oh, my God. Wow.
All right, Mel, we appreciate it. We promise you we will not bother you until September. But thank you for your time, man. You're the best.
If Mikey A wants me to come on next week, I'll come on next week. But
I'll talk to you September 1st.
Why don't you talk to Dory, okay, and see if you and Dory want to come on together, and maybe perhaps in September we'll make it a weekly thing. But
if Dory's coming on, I'll come on anytime during the summer. So anytime you get Dory, I'll be here with him.
Okay, perfect.
Because I think he needs that assistance. He needs to get reinvigorated. He needs to get that energy back. And I think if we come on together in another week or two, it might be a good thing for him. So I would definitely do that. So if you can get Dory, I'll be here with him.
All right, perfect. Enjoy your Orange Crush and crab cakes and whatever it is you're doing. By the way, Field Yates also a big boater, except he is a captain. It's a yacht, you know.
I know he's always there. I'm still waiting to get on. There's certain yachts I'm still waiting to get on, but I don't get the invite. So again, I can tell you this, guys. I've never been on a cruise in my life. And I've never been on a yacht. I've been on boats, but I can never say I've been on a yacht. So LeBatard's never invited me. So I know LeBatard's got a yacht somewhere.
Oh, he does. But let me tell you something. No one loves cruises more than Billy. Billy will take you on a cruise. That's how you guys
on one
bond,
tomorrow.
Okay?
Hey, he's
going on one tomorrow.
On the side of that cruise ship. I can tell you that. Now, Billy, I'm not getting on a cruise ship with you, pal. No. I'll do podcasts with you. That's it. I'm not getting in the same room with Billy. Okay? No.
Billy is his nemesis already. It's crazy.
Scared the hell out of me, this guy. Are you kidding me?
All right, we appreciate it. Enjoy your time off, sir. Enjoy your weekend, and thank you for doing this, man.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it, man. See you.
Okay.
Bad news for you guys. Last year, you guys were really pushing to be the Black Friday team and start a new tradition as Jets fans and as the Jets, where you would be the team that plays every Black Friday. And this year you were not scheduled on Black Friday. The Chiefs, as Mikey pointed out earlier, play every single day of the week, and that is they're going to be their Friday game this season. Do you feel bad about this? Do you feel sad that you're not the Black Friday team this year?
I think our chances of being the Black Friday team every year went out the window when they returned a Hail Mary for a touchdown that game. So
the Hail Mary moment. Yes, Javon Holland. Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to say that we made our own bed with that.
Yeah. Javon Holland won everybody a bunch of 98-inch TVs that day.
He did.
Yes, he did.
I'm okay.
It got him an invite on God Bless Football, so
it did.
Win-win.
Yeah, he was on with us the next day, I believe. I'm okay. The Jets have plenty of primetime games. I don't need them playing on Black Friday. I'm good with it. Plus, I have them at 14-3. So what do I care?
The Dolphins play on Thanksgiving night. They're the night game. They're in Green Bay. I got to be honest with you. Don't love that.
Yeah,
that's the forgotten game on Thanksgiving. Way too late. It's going to be cold there. Like
you're tired,
so tired. Right? I don't want to stay up and watch that game. Now I have to. It's going to feel like work.
And it's a really good game. I mean, Dolphins at Packers is a really
Green
good
Bay at
game.
night.
No, but I'm with Billy on this. Like, I don't like to be. I'm not thrilled about being inconvenienced. Like, I don't like the Jets opening weekend of the year having to play on Monday night. I have to wait the entire weekend to see my football team play. I don't like that at all, you know? Yeah. It's tough. Mel Kiper Jr. Oh.
How great is Mel? How great is Mel?
He's the best. I can't wait for Billy to be sitting there on draft day with him.
I think he told me after
that. In July.
I think he told me after I have the face of a killer, which was not exactly a compliment.
Well, you're on the big board of faces of killers.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say.
I mean, you were popping open your eyes in a way. You look like a killer. I mean, he was scared. Look at you.
To be clear, I'm not.
Right. We know. Billy Kill.
Something a killer would say.
That's true, I guess. Maybe I shouldn't have said that.
I think Mikey A, I know you want this badly. You threw your hat into the ring. I think Billy can agitate. And if Mel is missing being agitated by Todd McShay, then Billy is the guy.
So then Billy should replace McShay, not Mel.
Yeah, when Mikey threw his hat in the ring, I was going to remove myself for consideration because I don't want to go up against Mikey on that.
No, but I like where Mikey's headed. Mikey has thrown his hat in the ring to be Mel, and I think, Mikey, you're right. Billy needs to throw his hat in the ring to be Todd McShed. Billy, give us a Dolphin prediction. What's the record? Quickly here.
Oh God!
I know you hate doing this. It's
11-6.
11-6. So it's a wild card, huh?
Yeah, I'll take it. I guess.
Jets win the division. I hate myself.
Third time.